Hey guys, welcome back to the Pixel Street Podcast. This is episode 199. The big 200 is coming up here soon. But alas, Joel is out for another week. Something about being a responsible adult and working and all this other stuff. I don't understand it. So instead, I said, hey, Mike Szoke, you haven't been on the show in a while. Let's get him here. So if you don't know, Mike Szoke is one of the head guys for Game Pass Network, Game Pass Tracker, PlayStation Network Tracker. Is that what that one's called?
Game Pass Counter, PlayStation
Counter, not Tracker. Or okay, go ahead and list them off. Go ahead and list them off.
Yep. So we've got the PlayStation Plus Tracker, Game Pass Counter. We've got Indie Game Tracker. Got all kinds of stuff. Those are the three that I'm mostly running right now.
All right. And yeah, they're just really good areas to go if you're like, hey, I wonder what's coming out on Game Pass this week. I wonder what's leaving. I wonder all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good site.
We got all kinds of lists for
all
any
that
thing.
stuff. Yes.
Want to know how many games have been taken off of the service? We have that too. It's all there.
Yep, it's all there. Very good follow on Twitter as well, which you guys, you're getting some recognition lately. Got Shohei Yoshida following you now and everything. That's cool.
He followed Indie Game Tracker for something that I do with my friend Odrin Johnson. We do a weekly indie highlights video that I actually just recorded with him last night. Game Pass Counter was mentioned on Kind of Funny Xcast the few days before that, which was kind of mind-boggling. And of course, Game Pass Counter itself just passed up 10,000 followers on Twitter. It's actually already shooting past 11,000.
Good stuff. Love to hear it. All right. Well, this week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about Embracer making some moves. They have been making a lot of big acquisitions, and they are kind of becoming a giant in the gaming industry.
Yeah, they are. They're huge.
Yeah. Talk about Dead Island 2. Actually, looks like it might release, and pretty soon. And then we're also going to have a discussion about what it takes to make you just finally call quits when it comes to video games. Before we get to that, though, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street. You can also find us on YouTube, Pixel Street Videos. That's where we put up reviews and all that stuff. I will have a review coming out next week that I'll talk about a little bit later on. Also, follow us on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes podcast, Apple Podcasts. I'm not sure which one it's actually called now, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, all the podcast stuff. Go ahead and follow us, and also leave a rating wherever you're paying attention to us. We would really appreciate it. So let's get started on this Embracer Group news. If you don't know, Embracer Group, they are essentially the THQ Nordic guys, but higher up. They've been on a spending spree lately. So last night, in the middle of the night, really, I guess it wouldn't be the middle of the night for them because they're based in Sweden. But in the middle of the night for us, I was just scrolling through Twitter and I see Embracer Group has acquired pretty much all of the rights to The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, which is just like, what?
Yeah, everything but the book rights they now own, technically. Even the movie rights and TV rights, they have rights to now as well. Mind-boggling.
Yep, it was movie, games, theme parks, merchandise, which is the big one. People don't really understand how big merchandise rights are.
Especially with Lord of the Rings still, even though it hasn't had a movie or anything in a long time. Yeah. And with the Amazon Prime show about to come out next month, that's going to generate more merch.
Yes, absolutely. They also own like any Lord of the Rings stage plays, board games, so pretty much, like you said, everything but actual book sales is going directly to them. That's the big news that they said. They also came out and said that they are planning to collaborate with both established and new recipients of these licenses and will explore other opportunities, including additional movies based on iconic characters such as Gandalf, Aragorn, Gollum, Galadriel, Eowyn, and other characters from Tolkien's work. And
give me all of the Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely. That is what I'm saying.
Also, give me a third Shadow game. Mm-hmm. I need a follow-up to Shadow of War.
Shadow of War, baby. Yeah.
I think I need it. I injected into my veins straight away.
Yeah, before we get to the other acquisitions here, let's just focus on Lord of the Rings, because when I first heard this, I was like, oh, there goes the hope for any Shadow of War sequel or anything. Nope. But then they said that they were going to be willing to work with past collaborators and everything. The whole thing there is Embracer Group going to pay Warner Brothers to work on this for them?
Another thing is that I don't think it's them, but Warner Brothers has been looking at selling off some of their gaming studios.
Yes.
And one of Embracer's studios is unannounced. A mystery studio that they haven't announced yet. It could very well be Monolith.
It could be, which would...
I don't think it is, personally. I don't think it's Monolith.
Yeah.
But I can't rule out that there is a possibility that it could be. And that's also just like the fan part of me hoping that it's Monolith.
Yeah, the thing with that is they just announced that Wonder Woman game, and there's no way WB's going to let Embracer Group work on a Wonder Woman game. That's just not going to happen. If they do that, that game is scrapped, which really makes me think that that's not going to happen, that it's not Monolith.
I hope it's not, because I also want the Wonder Woman game.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want a new Shadow of the game.
Me too.
I'm conflicted.
Really, I just want them to get rid of their trademark on the Nemesis system so we can put that in more games. Even though all these developers had years to do it and just never did. I'm still upset about that.
It was cool, actually. Just the other day, it was revealed that there's a new Skyrim mod that incorporates the Nemesis system into the game. So I was like, looks like I have to go back and play more Skyrim.
Yeah, absolutely. That Nemesis system is just so damn cool.
So
all right. Included in this acquisition was also the acquisition of Limited Run Games. You will probably know them for re-releasing older games, but they do it on newer hardware. So usually they do this for like physical editions for Switch games. Every now and then you'll see a PlayStation game on there as well. It's just older stuff.
They just started doing Xbox too.
Oh, they did? Okay. Yeah, I haven't ever seen them do Xbox.
A month ago they announced their first one.
Yeah. Their big thing, though, is bringing back digital-only games and releasing them physical for that crowd, which is really cool stuff. And there's been some things on there where I'm like, ooh, should I buy this?
I have a number of their physicals back on the shelf behind me with my Switch games. I have a number of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do some really good stuff. Hopefully, with them getting a lot more money from Embracer Group and everything, we'll see even more of that. That's really what I'm seeing for them, is just an expansion of the games that they re-release.
And hopefully quicker production of the things, because like I've ordered things from them and it took almost, if not over a year, to get the item that I ordered. So it would also be nice if this means that they are able to bolster their production lines to get things out faster.
Yeah. So hopefully all good things coming from there. They also acquired Singtrix, which I didn't really do any looking up on, but it looks like they're just mostly focused on audio work. So
they kind of help with audio design and audio development and like refining of audio for games and stuff. So they're a decent support system for the audio side of games.
Yeah.
With which how many studios they have now is a pretty useful resource to have.
Mm-hmm, for sure. They also got Tuxedo Labs and Tripwire Interactive, and I had the names of the franchises they're known for on the top of my head, and I lost it.
Tripwire is Killing Floor and
That's
Maneater. Yeah. I'm a really big fan of Maneater. I'm not a big fan of Killing Floor, but I love Maneater. Unironically, amazing Shark PG. Love it. Tuxedo Labs, I can't remember what they've done.
Yeah.
Let's do a cursory search.
Yeah, it was something... not big, but like something like notable. It should be noted that Embracer Group owns Deep Silver and all of them, so they had already worked with Tuxedo Labs with Maneater and stuff. So this one was kind of an acquisition that made more sense in my mind.
They did a game called Teardown.
Teardown. Okay. I don't think that's what...
their most prominent game.
Okay. Whatever. And
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I haven't either. And their last acquisition was their first Japanese studio called Tetsujin. They had a franchise that I had never heard of. So, sorry, I'm blank.
I'm familiar with them. What did they do? Oh yeah, they do the what is it?
It was something I had never heard
Taiko
of.
no Tatsujin.
Give me a second here. Tetsujin.
So hard to find everything because everything they do just pulls up the game series.
Mm-hmm. It was very all of this news came out and it's just kind of been a mismatch of everything. It took me so long just to get the list of companies that were
yeah, and it's like everywhere, and looks like they're known. They work on a lot of shmups.
Okay. Yeah.
is what they work for. So shoot 'em ups. That's the main thing that they work on.
Okay. So yeah, the big news here is the Lord of the Rings stuff. Obviously, the limited run stuff is cool, like we noted, and those other ones, they're not like eye-watering big news or anything, but still, Embracer Group is getting fucking huge. This is all after just earlier this year that they acquired Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, and the Legacy of Kain series, and all of those developers. And like, they're getting massive out of nowhere. Embracer Group. Okay, the first thing I think of with Embracer Group is THQ Nordic, and all I think about with them is the AA studio kind of game. Your Biomutants, Dead Island, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that, they're very good games, and I like them a lot, but they're not like your gangbuster seller. They're not the top of the list.
I would say their closest series that Embracer has to the AAA mark would probably be the Metro series.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in popularity, I mean more so in quality and design. It's a lot more of the more serious, darker tone, more polished in a lot of ways than some of the other ones. Especially Exodus was really phenomenal.
Probably the most popular one that they own is Borderlands, I would say. That's been...
Oh, I forgot they
own a Gearbox. Yep.
Yeah, I forgot they had Gearbox. So yeah, Borderlands.
Probably Borderlands. They also...
Completely forgot they got
They
Gearbox.
own Saints Row, which is coming out in a week. There's a lot of stuff on here that you're like, wow, I didn't realize just how much they own. They own a lot. A lot of people are talking about all these companies and everything that Microsoft now owns on the Xbox side. I will go just do a quick search on Embracer Group, just all of the companies they own, and you're like, wow, that is a lot.
Yeah, they're so big that before you get into any of the other game studios, there's another company below Embracer, Saber, that technically handles all of those for Embracer. yeah,
they own Saber, Coach Media. What else? They own Aspire, which was working on the KOTOR remake, but that's paused, and we don't know what's going on with that. They own...
Well, there was a little bit news of today about that, where they released a statement. Yeah, where it sounds like, I'm hoping that Asper is no longer the one working on the KOTOR remake. They can't even handle half-decent ports of Star Wars games. So I was pretty worried about them.
I'm gonna give them a shout out though to the Star Wars Racer game that they re-released, because that was a great re-release.
But then you also have to look at KOTOR 2 on Switch.
We don't have to.
In a state that you couldn't finish for like a month.
It's all good.
It's really bad. And that's not their only poor port either. That's just the worst of the bunch. But,
well, you know, at the end of the day, the only Star Wars game that matters is Racer. So...
personally, I can't say you're wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't agree. KOTOR's right there.
Yeah.
But I can grab all of my Revan figures and bring them down here for you.
Nah, I'm good with that, because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, in all honesty. I just love Star Wars Racer. It's a great game.
My Star Wars shelf right there.
Mm-hmm. I just love that they brought that game back, and I've always kind of hoped for a sequel or a remake or something. But whatever, I'm good with the re-release. But yeah, Mike, when you look at all of these games and everything, maybe just focus on the stuff that's coming out right now. I know we mentioned hopes for another Shadows game, but what do you really hope from Embracer coming out of this big acquisition?
So, coming out of this big acquisition, first of all, not even a shadow of anything Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings needs a new big game. We have Golem coming out in the future. It's not a big game, though. It's a small little stealth puzzle game. It's fine. I'm going to buy it day one.
Oh, yeah, same.
But it's not what I want when I think of a big Lord of the Rings game. I love the Shadow of games, but it would even be cool to get more of a tighter narrative-driven Lord of the Rings action-adventure type game.
Mm-hmm.
Even, like, it'd be cool to get, like, an AAA-style 3D Zelda-like Lord of the Rings game where you've got all these dungeons to go throughout Middle-earth. Like, that would be sick. So anything with Lord of the Rings would be amazing. Deus Ex is another one that I just played Human Revolution for the first time earlier this year. And I have Mankind Divided sitting over on my shelf that I need to get to. But I am an instant fanboy of those games, like instantly. So I hope that is a high priority for them, because we need a new one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also shout out Maneater 2. We need a Maneater 2. We need a second Shark PG. One was not enough. Expand it. Make it global. Let me go anywhere. Let me eat people. It'll be nice. It'll be cool. And like I said, just get Asper off of the KOTOR remake, which sounds like that's the reality. But I don't trust them handling that game. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah, Asper is just really known for re-releasing games.
They're fine with for the most part. They're okay with that. They just had a couple of blunders with Republic Commandos and KOTOR 2, and
I just think that a whole remake of a beloved game like that and such a massive game like that, I think that was a bit much to ask of them to do.
Yeah, especially when the team that originally made it was BioWare in their prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so looking at the acquisition earlier this year with Tomb Raider and all those, I'm hoping for a new Tomb Raider from the Crystal Dynamics team. I
loved the 2013 Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
I never got that grabbed by the sequels.
Oh, I love Rise of the Tomb Raider.
I need to finish them. I haven't finished either. I played them for a few hours and I just kind of lose interest a bit. But the first time I played Tomb Raider 2013, I rented it from Redbox when I was in middle school because I'm, a child. And I played it 3 times in 24 hours. Like, I beat the story 3 times in 24 hours so that I could play it as much as I could before I had to return it to Redbox.
Yeah, it was great. Rise of the Tomb Raider is my favorite of the trilogy. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was a bit of a step backwards. That was made by the Deus Ex team.
That's what I've heard.
And it wasn't a bad game, but it definitely was a step backwards.
Yeah.
I really want Crystal Dynamics to get back in on Tomb Raider, though. I want to see what they would do after all this time with that property. I was also kind of hoping before that they left Square Enix that they would make a Kamala Khan single-player action-adventure game in that style.
That would be great.
That's really all I want them to get back into, is just a single-player action game. It could be something completely new if they want to, but if it's any of those franchises, I hope that it's Tomb Raider. As for the stuff...
Just leave Marvel's Avengers in the past.
Yeah, well, apparently Winter Soldier's coming out somehow. Okay, but... focusing on the stuff that was announced today, The Lord of the Rings, I'm such a massive Lord of the Rings fan. That is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Knowing Embracer Group and THQ Nordic how much they love to re-release games, I'm really expecting to see some remasters, some re-releases of those older games. The first game that comes to my mind is Lord of the Rings The Third Age. That was a game on GameCube that I really enjoyed.
Oh god, my brain's blanking. There's the Lord of the Rings game that's basically like the old Star Wars Battlefront games.
I don't know. There's a lot of
Middle-earth something.
Battle of Middle-earth.
I can't think of it, but those I would love to come back because I loved them as a kid. I don't know why I'm blanking on them. I literally was talking about it the other day, but they're great, and I would love to see those come back. Really,
just more Lord of the Rings games is what I want, because I just feel like that series has been kind of neglected, especially when WB was looking over them. I mean, you had the Lego games, and you had the Shadow of games, which are both great games. There should be a lot more, though, available for that series.
They could do a lot more with Lord of the Rings. And even today, it's one of the most popular IPs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know, I feel like WB kind of fumbled a little bit with their handling of it.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, the Gollum game is... I'm going to play it right away because I am a Lord of the Rings fan. It's not something I'm particularly, ecstatic for because,
Exactly.
We all know Gollum's story, and do we really care about, a deeper dive into it? I don't know. But, whatever.
Out of, all of the major characters in Lord of the Rings, he's probably near the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
For characters I want to learn about now. A Tom Bombadil game.
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool.
That I'd be interested in. Because nobody knows anything about that game.
I think the biggest thing for me, though, is that they announced that, hey, we're looking for more movies around, Aragorn and Gandalf. Them saying movies, that's awesome. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings could have easily become something akin to Star Wars and Marvel and even Harry Potter that's still getting new movies where they just do offshoots of different things, and instead it's been absent. They haven't even made movies and stuff to cover everything that Tolkien himself wrote.
Yeah.
There's so many of his own Middle-earth stories that they could do adaptions of or anything with, and they've done nothing.
Yeah.
Besides The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
It's it's very exciting to see what the future of Lord of the Rings is. If they stick to their plan of actually bringing it back in full force, which I think they absolutely should. Okay, moving on here, a little bit more Embracer Group news. There was a Amazon leak that Dead Island 2 might actually be releasing. Or at least there was, I'm not sure if they brought it down yet. There was an Amazon listing that showed new cover art for the game and a release date of February 3rd, 2023. And so I'm just going to be honest right here. I had completely written this game off. So this game was announced in 2015, I believe. And since then,
Was it 2015? I thought it was earlier than
It might have been 2014. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Here, I will check just to make sure. Dead Island 2 announcement.
But yeah, I don't know if I'll believe that it's actually released until I have the game like actually in my hands and putting it into my Xbox. And even then, until it's installed and I boot it up and I'm playing it, I'm like, I'm gonna install this and I'm gonna boot up and it's just gonna say pranked.
It was 2014 that it was announced. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I love the first Dead Island. I 100%ed it and everything.
I loved the first Dead Island. I even liked Riptide. I thought Riptide was fine. I liked the first one more than Riptide, but I still enjoyed Riptide.
I didn't like Riptide. I thought Riptide was garbage.
Different. It was different. But I still enjoyed it. I also, again, was like in middle school when they came out. So my understanding of game design was not as exquisite as it is today. I played them like back to back, basically. Yeah. I think.
Yeah,
I haven't touched either of them since.
The first Dead Island.
I like both of them. I'm excited for Dead Island 2, but again, I'm not going to actually believe that it has released until I'm literally playing it.
Yeah. Once it comes out, though, are you planning on playing it?
I am. Oh, yeah. Once it's out, it might. I need to see trailers and stuff for it to be a day one buy, but just because of the childhood nostalgia that I have towards Dead Island, I'm already leaning towards most likely getting it immediately. It's kind of coming out in a very difficult window, though, if it is February. Because you've got the Dead Space remake, Resident Evil 4 remake, Starfield, Redfall, all around that January to March area. Now, fortunately, a lot of those are Game Pass, so at least it's not like fighting for my wallet. It's just fighting for my time.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Absolutely.
I'll play it eventually, regardless.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play it as well. It's got to be a completely different game than what they showed 8 years ago.
One of my favorite things, though, is that it's Dead Island 2, and the description on the listing states that it's in L.A., which is not an island.
No. Yeah, no, that I think that's where it originally was set as well. It was very much in California. Yeah, it's funny. But I'm interested to see where they go with it. I'm interested to see how much different it is. I'm hoping that it's good. But, I mean, this could be a complete Duke Nukem Forever situation where this game is completely garbage when it comes out, which makes me nervous. But man, with how much I love that first game, I know it's a completely different developer because the first two games developer was Techland, who does the Dying Light games. I'm hopeful, but let's be honest here. I'm pretty sure this game's gonna be garbage.
Yeah, I saw some people, it was making me laugh. I saw some, since you mentioned them, Techland, I saw some people on Twitter talking about the Dead Island 2 leak, and they were like, I just don't know if I like it. I don't really like Dying Light 2, and I was just like, people who are making Dead Island 2 didn't make Dying Light 2.
Nope.
And in fact, the people making Dead Island 2 probably aren't as good of developers as the people who made Dying Light 2. So,
not to mention that this is the second team working on, or at least the second team. We don't know if it changed development teams again.
I think it's the third team working on it.
It could be.
It's been a ride.
If it's really coming out in February, though, I'm really surprised they didn't show it during the recent THQ Nordic stream thing that they did. That's a bit odd.
That's when you would have, unless if they wanted a big reveal for it, then it might be at Gamescom, especially with the leak happening so close. But
probably
that's where I would have expected it.
Maybe again, Jeff Keighley got a thing
there.
Maybe Jeff Keighley got a thing there for his opening night.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley got a thing with it or something, and it is a game that people have been anticipating so long. Maybe they wanted it on a bigger stage than the THQ showcase or something. Because I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more people watching Gamescom than there was the THQ show.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's move on here. Our final main topic here. So Mike has been making some posts lately about some games that he's not a big fan of, but he finished anyway. So it really got me thinking about my gaming habits in the past. So Mike, I want to talk to you about calling it quits on a video game because what are the games recently that you've been playing? There was Lamb of the Cult.
The
Or
Cult of the Lamb was
Cult of the
one that
Lamb.
I almost called it quits on. That wasn't anything to do with the actual quality of the gameplay or anything. It was because there were a lot of bugs near the end of the game that I almost got to the point of, even though I only had like 2 hours left, where I was like, I will just shelve this until the patches are released and this game is more playable. Because it was crashing on me a lot. There were black screens where like the game was still going, but I couldn't see anything, so I would just die. There were levels where like you have to kill all of the enemies before the doorways will allow you to go through them, and the enemies just wouldn't spawn. So I'd just be stuck in that room and have to abandon my run and lose progress. So there was a lot of frustrating stuff. I actually wrote a review for it for a website called Gaming Sandbox. So you can find my full thoughts, because there's an entire section of the review dedicated to the bugs that I experienced. You can find that at Gaming Sandbox. But again, I still scored the game a 9 out of 10. It was a phenomenal game. It was just a little bit of too many bugs all at once that really upset me. But I am happy that I pushed through, because the fixes were to take it out of Quick Resume. Quick Resume was messing with it, so I closed the game.
That always
completely.
happens, man.
It happens so often with games, so that I can't really hold that against the developers all that much, because Quick Resume is still a fairly recent feature. They're a small indie studio, and they had to develop the game for like 5 platforms. It's fine, it's forgivable. And then you accumulate followers as you go through the game, either by saving them or purchasing them from the spider salesman and stuff like that. If you got 20 or more, the game would stutter a lot when you weren't even in combat. You were just like walking around your cult. So I just took mine down to like 18, and that helped like smooth out all of the rest of the issues. I was able to progress. But it was frustrating for a while there. I almost dropped it until they released patches. I'm glad I didn't. The other one was Stray. I have some controversial takes about Stray. First of all, the game is mid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing. The game is just insanely boring.
Yeah.
It's a cute cat. I love cute cats. I have 3 cats. I love cats. Game's boring. So I almost dropped Stray just because of how uninterested I was in everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then I ended up just pulling up a spoiler-free guide that like broke down what the chapters were, and I saw that I was like 3 chapters from the end of the game. And I was like, it's like another 30 minutes. The game only took me like 2.5 hours to beat because I didn't do any of the side shit.
Gotcha.
I just played straight through it because I was like, I don't care about any of this. This is not fun. So I just pushed through. I got to the end. Credits rolled before they even ended. Uninstall, erase from my brain. I finished it. So when people get upset with me for not liking it, I can at least say that I did beat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's not many games that I shelve.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know you're on there, but I'm on the GG app, which is like a video game tracker, kind of like Letterboxd, but for video games. And on my shelved list there, or my abandoned list there, I think I have like 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot, seeing as how I've played 67, or I've beaten 67 games this year.
Gotcha.
I've abandoned 7, and that's not even all from this year. Most of that, I haven't abandoned any games this year.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've abandoned 1. I abandoned Sniper Elite 5. That's the only one I've abandoned this year.
Gotcha.
Didn't like any of the other Sniper Elite games. It was on Game Pass. I was like, I'll try it. Played it for like 2 hours and was like, no, it's the exact same game.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, at what point do I call it quits with a game? It depends game to game. I am really trying to work on the mentality that if I am not enjoying a game, to just stop playing the game. Especially if I didn't pay for the game, like it's in Game Pass or PS Plus or something like that. Historically, I'm awful about that. I'll play games I hate for hours until I beat them. Because if I don't like a game, I like to be able to perfectly explain why I don't like the game and be able to say, I still beat the game. Like, I didn't like it. I saw it through the end. It's not like I'm someone who played it for an hour and then is acting like it's the worst game ever, like some people like to do. But, yeah, I mean, if it's boring, uninteresting, it's horribly buggy. Those are the main reasons that would get me to drop a game. Typically, if I'm not a big fan of the story, but it has good gameplay, I'll still play through it. If it doesn't have the best gameplay, but it has a great story, I'll still play it. Examples of those would be like Vanquish, which is a phenomenal gameplay third-person shooter from the Xbox 360. Gameplay's phenomenal. Story is your stereotypical sci-fi army game. Like, it's boring story-wise, but the gameplay's so good that I just skipped the cutscenes after I played it the first time I was replaying. I was like, I don't care about anything you have to say. On the flip side, I really do not like the gameplay in the first Last of Us game, but I enjoy the story, so I play through that because of how much I like the story. I don't care for the gameplay.
Gotcha. Yeah, when it comes to me quitting games early, so I'm so glad that Game Pass didn't come out a decade ago, because back then I think I had kind of the same mentality as you, where I don't care what it was. If I had a game given to me or something, I was going to play through it just to say that I did it and get some achievements. I am much more about enjoying my games now. I'm so happy that I've taken up this mindset, because there was a time where I was buying like cheap games on Xbox just to say, oh hey, look, I got all the achievements here and everything. Yep. There was one game that was very artsy, but I hated playing it. Like, it was a beautiful game, but I was like, man, I despise playing this. This is so boring. That was me
recently, earlier this year. One of the first games I beat this year was The Artful Escape.
Oh my god, like, The Artful Escape sucks.
I was like, this game's gorgeous, beautiful, music's great. God, is it awful?
It's hold right until you get to a Simon Says minigame. It sucks.
Like, it's just so bad. Like, it's just so bad.
Yeah.
People talk about games being walking simulators. That is essentially literally a walking simulator.
That game was awful. I can't believe that some people were calling that their game of the year last year.
Game of the year. I was like, holy, you guys, what?
Yeah, you have such low expectations if that thing is bashing through them.
Yeah, I was like, all you care about is aesthetic and not substance at that point.
That was an awful game. But yeah, I'm much more of the mindset now that I need to enjoy a game to keep playing it. Also for the achievements. When I'm looking at achievements now, it really depends. One, how much am I enjoying the game? And then two, how obtainable they are. Yeah. Especially with my job, I have to jump back and forth between games. I can't get stuck on one game too long. Otherwise, I'm not going to get any work done. Because I'm a guides writer. So
I feel that.
I'm walking around and I'm like looking at all these games. I'm like, okay, can I hit this in a certain amount of time? That's why I don't play mini RPGs anymore. When Zelda comes out, that's gonna be my life for a good month or two. But that's really, or same with Hogwarts Legacy. But like, outside of those games that I'm legitimately excited for, games like Cyberpunk 2077, I look at it and they say, oh, dozens and dozens of hours. I'm like, oh, I'm out, because I'm not going to invest that much time into it. My mind is looking at the next game.
I play some of them less often than I do. Big open world RPGs, I barely touch anymore. At all. Like, essentially not all. I played Horizon Forbidden West for like 10 hours, and I was like, I am tired of the checklist. I'll get back to it at some point, maybe. But you know me. I'm a sucker for JRPGs. Some of them are insanely long. There are the games that I'll make exceptions for, such as Persona 5 Royal coming to Xbox.
See, that's a big question for me.
I platinumed Persona 5 Royal, and I will be getting all of the achievements for Persona 5 Royal on the Xbox. I'm also buying it for the Switch, so I can also play it on the go.
Yeah, I want to give it a try, because I've only heard how great that game is.
So good.
Man, that's a lot of time investment, though.
It is a big time
investment. I'll try it.
I'll tell you, you know what, I'll make you a deal. I'll tell you how Soul Hackers 2 is, because that one's only supposed to be about 40 hours. But it looks very similar, and the reviews have said it's very similar to Persona 5. It's at least not 120 hours. It's only like 40 hours, which is...
Yeah.
That's where most JRPGs fall. It's around the 40-hour mark. I feel like it's a genre that gets its length exaggerated a lot just because Persona 5 is the new pretty thing. Most JRPGs are not 100 hours. That's a fairly rare thing, and I mean, some of them, if you do every single activity in it, it'll be 100 hours, but you can say that about a lot of games that aren't JRPGs.
Yeah. Persona 5, I'm going to download and try just because it's on Game Pass, and so I can say I've at least tried it. Because everyone you talk to about it says it's an amazing game. So I'm like, okay.
It's my favorite game of all time. I don't think... Oh, wait, no, you can't. There's my Shin Megami Tensei / Persona shelf right there. You can see the Joker mask right there.
Mm-hmm.
I have my signed copy of Persona 5 right there. And that's all Shin Megami Tensei and Persona games right there.
Nice.
Manga. I have some of the manga there, too.
Nice. So yeah, it's definitely something I want to try, but not necessarily something I think I'm going to play a lot. Getting back on topic, though, learn to walk away from a game when you're not liking it, Mike. It'll only do you good.
I'm better. The good thing is that I'm really easy to please, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare for me to not like a game.
Mm-hmm.
I might not be interested by a game when I first play it, like Horizon Forbidden West, but I did enjoy what I played.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, it's a shiny thing, but there were shinier things nearby, and my ADHD brain made me look at the shinier things.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then there were more shiny things after I finished those other shiny things, and now Horizon Forbidden West is so far behind me that I don't even remember that it exists 90% of the time until somebody talks about it on Twitter.
The big thing is once a game starts to feel like a job, that's when it's time to get out. So.
Yep, unless if that game is Job Simulator, then it is doing its job for you. It's supposed to feel like a job.
But that one's at least fun.
Yes.
Okay.
Or my wife put 60 hours in a Power Wash Simulator.
There you go. Madness. All right. Let's get on to some quick news here. First up, Toys for Bob are teasing that they are working on a new game, and it's not likely to be a Call of Duty related thing, which is very exciting. When Activision announced that Toys for Bob was like working on Call of Duty, I was so heartbroken. All I want is a new Spyro game. A new Crash game, Crash 5, whatever. I would understand it. Give me a new Spyro game, please.
Spyro would be great. He's due.
I want it so
Our
bad.
Purple Boy, his game. He deserves it.
He does. Next up, an open-world Iron Man game made by the Just Cause devs was canceled back in 2012 by Disney and Marvel. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm a pretty big Iron Man fan, so that makes me sad. But also not the biggest fan of Just Cause, so...
Knowing, though, this timeline, though, this probably would have been connected to the movies at that time.
Most likely, yeah. If it was in 2012, I'm pretty sure there were still the movie games coming out at that time.
That was not long after the Avengers release, so it probably had something to do with that, I would imagine.
Nope.
Reggie says Nintendo was working on a controller similar to Xbox's adaptive controller when he retired. Since we haven't heard about it now, who knows if that's still in work or anything.
It would be great. If not, they could at the very least make it so that the adaptive controller could work with the Switch. Xbox and Nintendo have been buddy and buddy for a while.
It does work with the Switch.
Oh, it does? I didn't realize it did.
Yep, it does. Yeah, I believe the Xbox adaptive controller works with everything, and that's kind of, from what I saw, that's kind of what they were planning to do with this controller as well.
I remember it working on most things. I just hadn't heard of anybody using it with a Switch.
Yep. I've seen...
there's even less of a need for Nintendo to develop that.
I believe I saw Phil Spencer share a video back when that first came out of a kid playing Breath of the Wild with it.
Now that you mention it, I remember that video.
Mm-hmm. Really cool stuff. More stuff like that would be awesome. All right, next we got Quakecon, which is happening today. I'm not sure.
It's happening today through Saturday.
Okay.
It's a multi-day event with tournaments and stuff, but I think most of the news was slated for today.
Gotcha. Well, we got a bunch of Game Pass announcements if you want to give us the lowdown on everything we're getting from that.
Oh yeah, so as you know, I run GamePassCounter.com, so Game Pass is my life. I think I tweeted like 30 things on Game Pass Counter today, because there was just literal non-stop Game Pass news today. But the news we're talking about is just the QuakeCon news, which is like just a portion of all the news. But it's some of the most exciting news. If you're a fan of Bethesda, specifically ID Software and Elder Scrolls, I have great news for you. They just made a ton of classic Elder Scrolls games and Quake games and Wolfenstein games available either for free on the Microsoft Store on PC, which is games like Elder Scrolls Arena, the original Daggerfall. Those are for free on the Microsoft Store, no cost, nothing. You can go and play them, download them right now and play them. Amazing preservation of the games. Some of the other titles have been added to PC Game Pass. So we have Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which is, in my opinion, to this day, one of the best Wolfenstein games. I still love the reboot of Wolfenstein and the new Colossus. Those games are amazing too. But after those, Return to Castle Wolfenstein is up there for one of the best Wolfenstein games. Quake 4, which, funny enough, it was published by Bethesda still, but that was developed by current Activision Blizzard studio Raven Software.
Oh.
So that's kind of funny.
Okay, yeah.
So Quake 4 it was also originally on the Xbox 360, so it's a little disappointing that it's only being released on PC Game Pass and not also console Game Pass.
That is odd.
But Quake 4 is there for you. There's also Quake 1, Quake 2, and Quake 3 already on PC Game Pass. If you're not on PC Game Pass, the remaster of the original Quake is on console. Phenomenal series. It's like Doom if you shot crossbows that shot stakes instead of machine guns. It's a phenomenal game.
I believe they also added new levels to that remaster.
Yeah, so Quake, the Quake remaster, that got new levels to it. Doom 1 and Doom 2 also had massive fan-created packs, like level packs released today, and they promised that they added hours of new content, which is pretty massive when you consider that the original Dooms and Quake are only hours long in themselves.
Yeah.
And there's already a lot of bonus levels already included in them, so they're really beefing up the amount of content in these games at no extra cost, which is always amazing to see. The retro FPS genre of people that not only develop new games like Quake and Doom, but the treatment of those games, the original games that started this genre, is just really lovely to see. But besides that, there's also Wolfenstein 3D, which is another pretty solid Wolfenstein game. You have an Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire, which I haven't played before. I've watched some gameplay of it. So it's one that I'll be going to because I'm a pretty big Elder Scrolls fan. I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand when you're a Lord of the Rings fan. And for a long time there weren't a lot of Lord of the Rings games, and you were getting Elder Scrolls games, and you're kind of like, this would be cool if it was this, but Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Also have the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, which is home to, I believe, still the largest video game map. That's Daggerfall. Daggerfall, not Redguard.
Yeah.
Daggerfall. But Redguard is also good. I've heard it's good. I haven't played Redguard. But I will be playing Redguard now that it is added to PC Game Pass. You also have all of the champions and the previously free-to-play Steam game Quake Champions. If you have PC Game Pass, you will automatically get all characters unlocked. Kind of what they're going to be doing with the Riot games coming to PC Game Pass later in the year, where if you have PC Game Pass, you automatically get all of the League of Legends characters and Valorant characters and stuff like that automatically unlocked. So the game is free to play, but you get a bonus to it of all of the characters being unlocked if you happen to have PC Game Pass, which is pretty cool. I hope it revitalizes Quake Champions a bit. I haven't played it before, and I never really heard a lot about it after it launched. It kind of fizzled out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it did.
But I love Quake, so I would love to see Quake do well. And there's also a lot of rumors and speculation from, I wouldn't say leakers, but insiders like Jeff Grubb and stuff, that ID is working on some kind of Quake reboot. I don't know how much I believe them, but I would love to see it.
Whenever Jeff Grubb says something, I'm kind of like, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, it's like he is right fairly often, but he's also wrong fairly often.
Yeah,
it's almost like a 50-50.
Yeah, so
The snitch on Twitter. I don't think he's missed yet. I don't know if you're familiar with the snitch at all.
No.
There's an account on Twitter. His name's just Snitch, and he has teased so many things days before they get announced. Like, he has not missed yet. It's nuts. And most recently, he released a teaser of just an image from an old Dune novel cover. So there's a lot of speculation that there's a new Dune game in production, and he confirmed that it's not talking about Dune Spice Wars. And as a big Dune fan, I'm also excited for that. So,
gotcha. Cool.
Give me all the stuff.
I know nothing about it. All right, moving on. The new Tales from the Borderlands game is just called new Tales from the Borderlands. They're really going with the Nintendo naming convention there. That is set to release on October 21st. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed is set to release just a few days before that on October 18th. I don't know if you're excited for either of those. I will probably play new Tales from the Borderlands.
I'll probably play new Tales from the Borderlands. My love of Borderlands kind of like decreased over the years. I wasn't a big fan of 3. It was okay. It just wasn't what I was wanting after the long wait.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like the original Tales from the Borderlands, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy this too, but I also know that it's not the same team
It's a very different Techland, yeah.
Very different, yeah. So I don't know what to expect, really. So I'll probably wait for more trailers and reviews, probably. But regardless, Borderlands games go down in price pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless, a month after it releases, I can probably find it for $15. So
the big Techland game I'm looking forward to is Wolf Among Us 2. That's the one I'm excited for.
That's the one I'm looking forward to. Yep same.
You can now confirm your accounts for account merging in Overwatch for when Overwatch 2 comes out. It's very simple because you need a Battle.net account to play Overwatch now, no matter what platform you're on for the crossplay. You just go on there. There's a new icon at the bottom of the menu that says account merge. Hit it, confirm it. You'll be ready to go once that comes out. All of your skins, all of your progress, all of your stats, your competitive rank and everything, no matter where you're playing, it's going to carry over once Overwatch 2 releases. Awesome
I haven't
stuff.
played Overwatch since before Baptiste came out, I think. I used to play it a lot, though. Like, I'm not... Anybody who knows me, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, but I used to put a lot of time into Overwatch.
I have put so much time into Overwatch. Once Overwatch 2 releases, man, that's another one that's probably going to be my life. I'm kind of hoping that Hogwarts Legacy is kind of out and done with by then. I think that's coming out in September, right? Or no, they don't ever. No, that one's winter,
they
isn't
delayed it?
That's right.
Yeah, so it's Hogwarts Legacy's 2023 now.
Is it?
Yep, February 2023.
Is that really? I thought it... I must...
happened just a few days ago.
Oh.
You might have missed it.
I missed that. Okay, next up on the dock here, Hogwarts Legacy delayed to February 10th, 2023, and I'm a little sad now.
Yep. Sorry to break it to you. In case you missed it, High on Life was also delayed. Oh, wait, you have that next.
That was the very next thing. High on Life delayed to December 13th, and that one I don't. Okay, cool, whatever.
I'll play Legacy, it.
Though,
neat.
Man.
Another small tidbit that is also coming to Game Pass Day 1. And Slime Rancher 2 got a release date today as well. Yeah. That's September 22nd, and that's one I'm actually really excited for. I only played the first one for a few hours, and like a day later, Slime Rancher 2 was announced. So I was like, instead of burning myself out on Slime Rancher, I will just stop playing this now and wait for Slime Rancher 2 to come out.
Gotcha. And I'm kind of bummed about that. I was kind of hoping Hogwarts Legacy would be my game of the year. All right.
Next year you've got so much competition.
It's Breath of the Wild 2. There's no competition there.
I know, I was going to say, for you, it's going to be Breath of the Wild 2 guaranteed. For me, I don't know if anything is going to compete with Starfield.
It's Hogwarts Legacy. I am so excited for it. It's not going to compete. It's Breath of the Wild 2. I already know it. Okay, now let's get on to what we're playing, because I think we're starting to run a little long. Oh, we're good. We're fine. So yeah, talking about games we've been playing lately, I'm going to start off here because I have just a really quick mention. I got an early code for the new Saints Row game.
Nice.
It is currently under embargo, so all I can say is that I am playing it and that there is a review coming out on Monday. That will be on the Pixel Street Videos YouTube channel. I'm not writing the review for GamePro.com, but I will be doing guides there. I will make a review video, though, for Pixel Street Videos. Besides that, I'm also playing a under embargo game that I can't talk about. I've been playing a bit of Rumbleverse lately, which is a new like brawling Fortnite, pretty much.
Yeah.
Have you played any of it?
If Fortnite and the WWE Battlegrounds game that came out last year had a baby.
Yeah, well, it's published by Epic Games. I can't remember who the developer is, but it's published by Epic Games. It's 40 people, and instead of like dropping from a plane, you get shot out of a cannon from the water onto this island, and it's a little different than like Fortnite because like you can never go outside of the ring. If you go outside of the ring at all, it's not like a damage thing. It will count down from 10, and if it gets to 0, you're just automatically out.
Well, it's more like a Halo multiplayer thing where if you go out of the bounds for too long, you just die.
That part of it is, yeah. So you get launched into it. You can find like different wrestling moves and stuff. There's some pretty fun stuff in there. You can also pick up chicken to eat to heal yourself. You can pick up like chairs and stop signs and use them as weapons until they break. It's some pretty fun stuff. It's kind of basic, in all honesty. Like the only attacks are X and Y. And X is just like your standard attack, and then Y is like a grapple and then throw them kind of thing. And then you can block with right trigger. It's kind of basic, but it's a fun time. It's better than I thought it would be. I was expecting...
Knowing Epic and the evolution that Fortnite had, it could look a lot different even just a year from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw screenshot comparisons of Fortnite when it launched to Fortnite now, and it's like insanely different.
Oh, yeah.
The game, like it's like a whole different game basically now.
Well, yeah.
So Epic is obviously willing to stick it out with games like that. So if Rumbleverse has any chance of succeeding in any kind of popularity, I feel like Epic will help make it realize its full potential.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. What have you been playing lately?
I have a question for you first. Have you ever talked to somebody who's played any of the Netflix games that are available through the service?
Not yet.
Now you have.
Once Oxenfree 2 comes out, I'm going to be playing it.
I'm playing a game right now called Poipin. It's a cute little phone game where you're this little, like, dinosaur-looking guy with a big hammer. And there's this giant cat, and you upset the cat. So you're, like, pulling yourself down to launch yourself up and collecting berries to make juice for the angry cat. It's adorable. It's a lot of fun. I'm addicted to it because I can play it at work. Phenomenal game. I absolutely love it. Otherwise, the main thing that's been taking my time is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Phenomenal game. I love it so much, and that's very exciting to me because I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I did not like it. I played Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I thought it was okay. I got Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I was like, I'm going to play it just because it's a Xenoblade game, and I played all the others, and I own them all, and I'm sure it'll be okay. And I absolutely love it. It's threatening my Game of the Year spot, which I was not expecting at all.
What was yours before?
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ah, okay.
I love Ghostwire Tokyo. Phenomenal game. But I'm biased. Shinji Mikami is one of my favorite developers of all time. I love that man. I love how weird his games are. And I could sit down and analyze his games for hours. He's amazing. His games are great. And I also have been playing Thymesia, which just came out today, but I got a review code for it. So I've been playing that in advance. That's a lot of fun if you like Souls-likes. It's a lot smaller in scope than like Dark Souls, obviously, because it's an indie game. But it's a lot of fun. It's a solid one that I would say a lot of people should look to. What else have I been playing? I play so many games at one time. Then I get asked what I'm playing, and my brain just kind of like falters a little bit. Recently, I beat both of the Dark Side Detective games. If you're looking for a really funny point-and-click game that's not very long, the first one's like 2 hours. Dark Side Detective, hilarious. It is such a fun. You are a detective for a police department, except for instead of investigating like normal crimes, you investigate the supernatural crimes. You're like going to a house and there's ghosts haunting it, but nobody else can see the ghosts but you, so they don't believe you that there's ghosts. It's really funny. I don't know, I'm not describing it well. It's great. Check it out. Play Dark Side Detective. I need more friends who have played Dark Side Detective.
I'll look it
up. It's great. And then Cult of the Lamb, obviously, I beat just a few days ago, which made it to my top 10 for the year, I believe. I think I have it at number 6 right now.
Cool.
So it's pretty high for me, despite the bugs. I really loved it. I even pre-ordered the, I think it's Special Reserve physical for it. It's launching later in the year, so I'll have a physical for it, and I am watching their website every day to try and get the plushie of the lamb, because I want the plushie of the lamb.
That sounds very Silence of the Lamb-like. I love it. All right, yeah. Other games I've been playing: Tower of Fantasy. This is an MMO that released last week, I believe, on PC and mobile. And it's not really a game that I would typically get into, but I've been covering guides for it, so I've been playing it mostly because of that. It's pretty good. It's free to play and everything. Of course, there's a lot of monetization stuff in there. It's a gacha game, so it takes a very specific kind of person to enjoy it. But for what I've seen of it, it's pretty fun. I don't know if I have any friends in mind that I would really recommend it to, but I enjoy it for what it is. Other than that, I've played Kirby's Dream Buffet, which released yesterday as we are recording this. And I got a code from it for Nintendo, or a code for it from Nintendo. And I played it for about an hour, maybe two, and I'd say I'm done with it. It's so short. There's people that were comparing it to Fall Guys. This game is microscopic compared to Fall Guys.
Yep, I read your review of it because I was thinking of buying it for my wife because she's a really big Kirby fan. And she enjoyed Fall Guys from the little bit that she played. And then I read your review and I was like, maybe we'll just wait for a sale for this one.
Yeah, it's cheap anyway. I think it's like $15, right?
It's $15.
Yeah, which isn't a terrible price, especially for Nintendo.
If it were $60, I'd be like,
oh, Jesus, no. Every round, every full match takes less than 5 minutes to complete. You start with a racing round, then you go to a mini game that lasts for 20 seconds. You do another racing round, and then a battle royale kind of thing at the end. It's only 4 people max. The very first racing round has these Waddle Dees that race against you, but I have never seen them past the starting line, so I'm like, why are these guys here even? For what it is, it's fun. It doesn't have the legs to stick around. I highly doubt that they're going to add updates to it. There just isn't a lot there. There is a gourmet ranking thing, so it's like a whole level progression thing that as you play it and level up, you get these really cool skins. Like you can dress yourself up to look just like Meta Knight and
nice.
and Elfalin from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So there's some good stuff there. I don't want to like talk down on it because it's a fun game. It's just nothing special, and I would be very surprised if past this weekend we hear anyone even mention it ever again. In all honesty, that's just how small it is. Other game I've been playing is Dead by Daylight. I've been talking about this a lot recently because I just go on these spurts where I play a lot of Dead by Daylight. Even though I'm not a horror fan, Dead by Daylight just gets me somehow. And I've been playing the killer a lot. Last time I think I talked about playing the artist. This time I've been playing as the hag, which is a lady that she can draw these triangles on the ground. And when someone walks near them, a husk of her pops up and scares them. And once you do that, you can teleport to them. And I've been having so much fun with that because I unlocked a perk for her that if I put someone on a hook and walk away, I will draw one of those. And then when someone comes to save them, they get scared, but then they pull off someone, and I gain a token that powers up my hag. So at some point, I don't have to hook people. I can just down them and then kill them right there, which is so much fun. I have screwed over so many teams that thought that they were about to win with that, and I love it so much. I'm having a ball playing it.
Nice.
Which isn't... I've talked before about how playing the killer in that game used to give me a lot of anxiety because it's managing 4 other people. Like, oh my god, I have to be over here. I have to be over here.
I haven't played Dead by Daylight, but I did play Evolve back when that was still a thing, and I hated playing as the monster for that exact thing. Yeah,
that was the same thing with Evolve. So hopefully I've completely grown out of that and everything, but I'm having a lot of fun with Dead by Daylight right now. And they've got another Resident Evil inclusion. They're bringing in Wesker as a killer, and then new survivors are Rebecca Chambers and Ada Wong. So very excited to play that as well. I'll probably talk about it when that happens. I hope that's soon because once Splatoon 3 and some of these other games start coming out, I'm going to be a bit distracted.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to talk about? Anything else?
I think I got all mine.
All right.
And I can remember at least.
It's all good. I think we've talked about plenty. Let's end episode 199 of the Pixel Street podcast right there. Mike, thank you so much for coming on. Where can the people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on basically any social media site at Mike Szoke. I'm very simple, very plain. My socials are just my name. But I tweet every day there, but most common place you'll find me tweeting is Game Pass Counter, which is also Game Pass Counter on every single platform. I dedicate basically hours of my day every day to talking about Game Pass, updating my website that keeps track of all of the different games on it, and any news regarding Game Pass in the slightest. I am reporting it as fast as I see it, basically. And sometimes I'm even first with stuff, which is pretty cool.
Nice. That is awesome. All right. I am John Hansen. You can find me on Twitter at RevXShadows. I also take care of the videos and stuff for Pixel Street Videos, besides the podcast usually. Look forward to my review for Saints Row. That will come out on Monday. Besides that, I might do a Let's Play of it. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I kind of want to do a co-op Let's Play of it, so maybe I can get Joel to get it. Besides that, you can find my writing on GamePro.com. Lots of guide stuff. Saints Row. I will be doing a review for another game that I can't talk about quite yet sometime next week. But I think that's about all I can really talk about at the moment. Like I said at the top of the show, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a like, comment, all that stuff. We really appreciate it. Spotify, SoundCloud, all that stuff. Look for Pixel Street Podcast. Thank you so much. We will hopefully see you next week. We hopefully will have Joel back, and we will have episode 200. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Bye!